Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Viewer's Choice. Your selection is about to begin. But first, take a look at what else you can see this week.
Hey, dudes, inviting you to travel through time. First stop, a long layover at the video store.
Bogus.
Wait, you've got Viewer's Choice.
Excellent.
Hello, you rotten little bloodsuckers.
America's most popular now. Get extra value. $12.50 cash back.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. What? Say what again?
Let's get out of here! Let's move!
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
This is my ship, the Nebuchadnezzar. This is the core. Where we broadcast our pirate signal back into the Matrix.
Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar with your host, Anesto Pablo, the double-headed coin, and your co-host, Pablo Morado, the Thunderbolt. Together, we are the Paramid Podcast.
Have a nice day.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
You know what's the hardest thing about podcasting? You got to do all the stuff yourself.
Damn right.
Go ahead, buddy. Do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and spend the money. And go, how much does AdSense make money at the beginning? Not a lot.
Welcome to the most banned podcast on the internet with your hosts, Anesto and Pablo Morado. Broadcasting to you from the depths of the Nebuchadnezzar and fighting the unseen hand in search of truth. Join us as we go digging in the valley of the real for current events, conspiracies, and paranormal phenomenon. This is the Paramid Podcast. Don't forget to follow us at paranormal.experience on Instagram, at Paramid Podcast on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Paramid Podcast on YouTube. Every follow and like gets us one step closer to exposing the fools of the deep state. So let's light a fire of wisdom and take back our sovereignty.
Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar with your hosts, Anesto and Pablo Try To. Welcome to the most banned podcast on the internet. Tonight, if we weren't banned before, tonight we're going to be discussing Pax Judaica. What in the world is Pax Judaica? We're going to find out together here live on the podcast, folks. As long as you are willing to have an open mind. Again, what we're going to be discussing is going to get us definitely on the radar. And also, we're going to be talking about Diego Garcia. And what is this? You know, this was casually mentioned in news articles and clippings and recently, and we're going to get into that as well. And so much more. This is the Paramid Podcast. This is your host, Pablo Morado, with my other co-host, Anesto Morado. And we're here. We're finally back for episode 150. And I think, you know, finally that we broke the cherry, it's time for a little bit of Yes, welcome to episode 150.
Episode 150. Just a quick reminder for people that are tuning into my side of the social media. If you want to get the full gist of the show, it's absolutely free. You go to the Paramid, PARAMID.
Yep.
.com. The Paramid, not the pyramid.
No,
not the pyramid.
Like
the para, like in paranormal, Paramid.com.
That's right. Like the Paramid Podcast, just theparamid.com. And you get to find us on YouTube, which is where we're basically housed at the moment. If any billionaire like, Elon Musk, any like trillionaire, which, you know, it's funny. Since the time that we've last recorded, last gone live, we got a trillionaire, we've got the UFC 250, you know, a fight on the White House lawn. We had a fighter, you know, finally back in the ring, Mr. McGregor. And of course, you know, he finished off in his true fashion in a 69-second fight. That's how he ends all his fights.
But the most important thing, during the UFC fight in the White House, it was known, or this UFC fighter let it be known, that Michelle Obama is a man.
Yeah, that's right. That was what's his name? This guy's Hockett, Josh Hockett. And
the crowd was stunned as he.
But you know, he's done that. He does that every single fight. That's
I
not.
didn't know.
That's not like his once ever time doing it. Like, I'm on the White House lawn, I might as well do it here, right? No. He's done it throughout his entire career in UFC. At the end of every fight that he's won, he goes, and don't forget, Michelle Obama is a man. So people are like all up in arms that he did it at the White House. What did you expect? This is what this guy is known for doing. So that was gonna be the case. But the one and only UFC that I've ever seen that every single fight ended in a technical knockout.
Right.
Every single fight ended in a knockout. A little freebie for those that are watching. Go to theparamid.com.
Theparamid.com.
Or theparamid@gmail.com if you want to submit us
right, if you want
any information.
You want to send us information, photos, videos. They could be sent through theparamid.com, but you could also go to theparamid@gmail.com.
Yes. So today we have a lot of interesting topics to go into, but today I want to do a little bit different. You know, we're gonna because you know a lot of people have been tuning into this podcast specifically because they want to hear about the things that nobody wants to talk about, the things that you know that
the taboo, the unforbidden, the forbidden,
the stuff that's in our minds. Because essentially, you know, where I work, you know, this stuff is not really discussed. But when they hear that I have this information, they drop everything, and it's always
the ears perk up.
Yeah, and they go, "Oh, you're like me," and then the conversation. You know how we're having a normal conversation, it goes from like this to, yeah. So, what do you know about the
same
the
thing
UFOs?
happens in my car when they listen to my content in the car. I'm usually listening to talk radio. My last customer was like, as he exits the car, he goes, "Fuck Bibi Netanyahu."
Well, actually, that's right on brand, because what's going on today is going to be discussing about what the hell is Pax Judaica, and Bibi Netanyahu is definitely in what this is. Now, if you're looking at the title of this video, and you look at the podcast, you're going to see that it's Pax Judaica and the greatest conspiracy lives. And the reason I put it that way is because, you know, we've been kind of stating that Jeffrey Epstein and his ilk are like a Rosetta Stone that connects us to the unseen hand that we've always knew was there, but we didn't quite know who they were. We knew about the Rothschilds. We knew about the Bilderberg group. But as far as, you know, who's truly running things, they're, you know, off into the obfuscation of their, you know, hidden quarters of whatever shield that they decide to hide behind. But luckily, we have a Jeffrey Epstein that plugged into this unseen realm of humanity. And now we can kind of get a window into, oh, these are the people that are controlling
right,
these
because
things.
what happened with the Epstein case was, like you said, it's the Rosetta Stone.
Mm-hmm.
The more you dig into the Epstein files, the more you realize that this guy didn't sleep. He was everywhere.
All at once.
All at once.
Right. And I mean, even in his jail cell,
I
mean, my goodness, he had to go work from jail.
He was trafficking women, trafficking kids. He was a major source of the adrenochrome.
He was also laundering money,
laundering money.
Yeah.
He had the Zorro Ranch, where they discovered first of all, there's like bodies buried in this complex.
Oh yeah.
And he had like a yurt with surgery tables
and all kinds of
defibrillators, which he used to scare the children.
Email list of coded messages and pizza and grape soda,
right?
And all these.
Don't forget beef jerky.
Beef jerky, and that's right.
So he also, not only was he creating adrenochrome with the kids, he was also doing beef jerky out of human beings. He also had his hands in Mossad. He had his hands on money laundering. I mean, the list goes on forever and ever and ever.
And he becomes a billionaire overnight because of Lex Wexner. I mean, or all these things that just randomly happenstance happen to come into being, and the fact that his last name is Epstein. Everyone thought, okay, maybe there is a Jewish or not Jewish, but Israeli origin to this whole thing. But then, after digging in even deeper, we discover that, hold on, there's a component here that's oddly silent and doesn't ever come up in this whole Jeffrey Epstein cycle, even though part of this elites, they are caught red-handed and photographed together, which is the royal family and Prince Charles, which England is totally never accused at all about manipulation, how they were using Jeffrey Epstein and all these other things. But they did criticize the guy. They
criticized him, but they were using and accepting his services. Let me ask you a question on the podcast. I see that is my microphone on?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're hearing you through the channel. Yeah.
Okay, because I see the mic little.
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
So
we
anyhow,
don't want the feedback loop.
The royals were using his services for believe it or not, for the jerky, for the adrenochrome, for the child trafficking and women trafficking. His Charles's brother was like a staple.
Well, there's theories that he was reporting to them.
That Epstein was reporting to them.
And that it wasn't that
they were not procuring his services. He was working for them.
He was working for them. Right. And then the whole Mossad was strategically labeled as, as such because they wanted him to look like that. But in reality, true power wants to stay hidden. And these dying monarchs want to have still control. And the way they do it is through the way they're doing it now. Everyone thinks of them like a celebrity, but they have figurative power or power over the church, apparently, like the way the Vatican has power over the church in a sense. That's their religious figures.
But it looks like they have switched camps.
Well, the whole thing is the reason why they switched to it being religious figures is because you can't pursue them for anything.
No,
they're like religious figures.
Well, what I'm saying is they were the biggest benefactor, and I'm talking about the royals. They were the biggest benefactor of the Vatican, of the Catholic Church, right? But it looks like now they have switched loyalties, and now they're beholden to the Muslim camp.
But that's the other thing that a lot of what do you call it? British and people from the UK are up in arms about is because, especially the ones that are really like us, the ones that are really paying attention, because most of the people obviously don't really know what the hell is going on. They don't know what the hell is happening.
Yeah, they're watching. What they're watching is that
Love Island.
Yes.
With the guy's dong flipping around,
Oh, that's the Love Island?
Yeah.
This is what everybody's crazy about?
Yeah, with or what is it? No, I'm sorry. That's Dating Naked. That's Dating Naked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Love Island.
Dating Naked UK. They're the ones there, yeah.
But Love Island, I never seen the show, but
neither have I. I just heard
it's
it.
It's one of these like dating shows, right? Where
they call it they call it a reality show, and I was bugging out to myself because I'm the only one that thinks of these things, and I'm sometimes a mog. I'm my own best friend,
Right?
But I was laughing to myself because they call it reality show, right? They call it a reality show, but in what reality
are they living?
How is this reality in any sense that you get challenges, you get things that you do?
That's like us living, right? And we wake up and we have a challenge.
Yeah, it's like us going to work, and we have a guy that brings us mail that goes, oh, and by the way, the producer says that you're gonna have to do this on top of all the other shit that you're doing already.
Right. But unbeknownst to us, we do have those challenges,
right?
Like we get that piece of mail in the mailbox that says you were going 35 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone.
The producer says that you now
have a $125, $150 ticket to pay.
Right. That's a great way to look at it. It's the producer.
Right. That's Jeffrey Epstein, the producer.
Right. But maybe they're alluding to something. That reality in now that we're obviously, our president has been saying this for a while, that it's fake news and everything is fake.
Right.
But maybe they were trying to wake us up like, hello, reality is all,
it's all controlled.
Contrived.
Right.
Right. It's scripted. Right. The whole thing is scripted. They're still
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Right. That's reality to them.
Right.
That's actual reality.
So then what we think of like deja vu or the Mandela effect is the fact that we stumble into a part of the script.
Yeah, that the writers they wrote it out. They wrote it out. No, that was the directors. That was last season.
Right. Their mistakes is what we figure, it's the Mandela effect. It's just that they fucked up in the production.
In the production, yeah. You know how they always leave a extra artifact in the scene that if you're keen on watching the movie, you're like, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't.
It's like the cowboy riding the horse with a pair of Nikes. Wait a minute,
right?
Like, he has a pair of Nikes on,
right? But yeah, so that being said, the Pax Judaica is
okay. So you've been telling me about Pax Judaica.
Mm-hmm.
You were telling me to research this.
Yes.
But unfortunately, life happens. And I've been dealing with life. Some things happened that I really don't want to get into, but it prevented me from doing my deep dive. So my deep dive will be with you guys, my audience, as Pablo takes us down the rabbit hole of what Pax Judaica is.
So
take it from there.
Okay, so now with that being said, now I heard this in listening to a bunch of the podcasts, for those that constantly are asking me, how do I do my research? And I do my research very simply, right? I'm listening to different podcasts. I'm constantly searching for different kinds of podcasts that are within our realm. And then when they casually throw out a theme or topic or something, I go, what the hell is that? And I look it up. So it was in a podcast. They just happened to talk about, this guy was talking about this, he was talking about this, he was talking about Pax Judaica, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Right.
I had to look it up.
Right, because you didn't know what that was.
I didn't know what it was. It was they were just listing out like conspiracies. They were like, this conspiracy, that conspiracy, Pax Judaica.
But in order for you to follow the cast, you say to yourself, okay, I'm following this, but I don't know what Pax Judaica is.
There's that, but there's also like they were mentioning this conspiracy, which I was fully aware of. This conspiracy that I was fully aware of. This one, I definitely know that one. Pax Judaica, wait a minute. Why don't I know this?
Right.
Right? So that's what...
Just like when I was listening to a podcast with the guy who he went to what's the name of that gap? The
Darien Gap.
The Darien Gap, and he discusses about the banana fruit company or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it's called the Dole. No, it wasn't the Dole company. It's
it's
the
U.S.
Yeah, the
fruit company. Anyway, he kept on mentioning this, and I'm like, why does he keep mentioning a produce, a banana factory, or banana produce, whatever? And then I started to realize that these people are heavily entangled in what happens through the Darien Gap, and they dictate a lot.
Yeah, so
USA Food Company, I think. No,
I pulled it up. United Fruit Company.
The United Fruit Company.
Yes.
So if people are not familiar with the United Fruit Company, you're going to take a deep dive on that.
Right.
And also on Pax Judaica.
Right. So here we go. So here's a good overview. Let me put this up on screen for everybody to see. So let's put this overview up.
It's like when I first heard of the Bohemian Grove. Like,
yeah,
what is that?
What is that? Like,
right.
what the hell could this be? Right. And they were talking about it like this is like the baseline for conspiracy theorists. And I'm just like, damn, I don't know this. So here we go. So Pax Judaica, which is a play on the historical term Pax Romana, meaning Roman peace, translates to Jewish peace. Okay? So it's not a recognized historical period, but rather a concept used in theology, eschatology, the study of end times, and modern geopolitical commentary to describe a hypothetical era of the global or regional dominance by Israel or Jewish influence. So you kind of get a good overview from that. Okay? So basically, it goes into the idea that the end of times, the Armageddon times that Revelations is talking about, the apocalypse, ends up in peacetime, but not just peacetime. It's Jewish peacetime.
Right, because this is the precursor to the Antichrist.
Right. So, with that being said, now part of that, which I didn't really contemplate beforehand, but the Jewish people, right, they're still waiting for their Messiah, right?
Correct.
Now, their Messiah is due to come at some point, right? Now, our Messiah is due to return.
Correct.
Right? Now, it never occurred to me, are we waiting for the same man? Right? Because if Jesus comes back into being, they rejected him already. Are they going to accept him the second time around? Is that who they're waiting for? Or who they're waiting for is our Antichrist? Because we know who Christ is.
Right. So
it didn't cross my mind before, but now I'm like, holy shit, then maybe that there is something to that.
Right.
They're waiting for the person that they've already deemed that, because we're waiting for Jesus, right? We're waiting for the second coming of Jesus.
Right.
But if Jesus gets reincarnated here, does that mean the Jewish people still reject him?
Most likely.
Because he's still not going to do what they want.
Because
what they want,
in the Jewish faith, the Messiah is not named Jesus.
Right.
The Messiah is named Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, right.
Emmanuel, right. So what Jesus is probably saying is, I've come, right? and this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And since the Jewish people rejected him,
Mm-hmm.
it could be that they're going to be the victims of the false Messiah,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Antichrist. So while we're waiting for in our belief,
Right,
right,
in our
as
belief,
Catholics,
right,
as Christians, is the second coming.
Right.
They believe they're waiting for the first coming.
Right. But
in reality,
all this time, I had believed that we're both waiting for the same person. Right.
Right.
But now taking with this new theory that was uploaded into my mind, it now makes me understand. But wait a minute, hold on. If Jesus comes back, they're going to reject him again. Right?
Correct.
Because we know who Christ is, right? We know this is our Christ. So therefore,
okay, I'm going to give you a scenario.
Their Messiah would have to be the Antichrist.
Okay, but I'm going to give you a scenario, right?
Okay.
The scenario goes like this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let me just preface this that I'm not shunning the Jewish religion.
No. This is
I don't know anything about that. I'm just, trying to interpret the information,
right,
and
it's
make
like
sense of it.
Crack a code of some sort.
Because if a rabbi comes on the line and says, "Listen, we are waiting for the same man," okay, I was wrong.
But this is what's going to happen. This is where the scenario I'm about to bring up. The second coming comes, right? Jesus comes back, right? And the Jews accept him as the first coming. For us is the second, for them is the first, right? But then there's a little conundrum. The conundrum is, right, that the Jewish people are going to be like, you're here to save us. You're here to free us from this tyranny that we've been under for thousands of years, that we're hated everywhere we go.
Right.
So we're going to get our guns packing. We're going to get rid of all these people.
Right.
We're going to get rid of the people, the Muslims that hate us, and every other faction that hate us.
Right.
And then Jesus is going to say, no, just like he did to the Pharisees.
Right, the first time around.
No. I'm not here just for you.
Right.
You are the chosen ones.
Yes.
But I'm not here just for you. I'm here for the Muslims too. What?
Right. And that's where it's going to change.
I'm here for everybody.
But that's why I'm saying.
And then they're going to be like, yeah, he's not the one.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So we're waiting for Christ, right?
Right.
But ultimately, they're waiting for the Antichrist. Because they want the guy that is going to do the thing that Christ is not going to do.
Right. Because Christ, what he wants
but
is peace, love.
Has that concept ever came into your mind before this moment?
No. Never thought of it.
But isn't that crazy?
Never thought of it. Because if you think, when you read the Bible, our Bible is the first and the first and second testament, right? You got the first
and the New Testament.
Right? That's what I meant.
Right.
They still
the
hold
Old Testament and the New Testament.
Our Old Testament is their Torah.
Right.
Right? So if you read the Torah and the New Testament, they're quite different.
Right.
Right? So the Old Testament has a lot of violence.
Right.
Which is why Jesus came to absolve us of all our sins.
Right.
Right? The Quran is chock full of violence.
Precisely, yes.
Right?
More violence.
Right. And the people that are like floating above all this are like the Buddhists. They're like benign. They don't
They're not. They're like spectators in the game. They're not even playing the sport. They're just there.
They're just saying, peace, love, harmony. Everything else is irrelevant, right? So, in my opinion, besides the Buddhist, Jesus is the only guy who preaches love and peace.
Right.
That's it.
That's
nothing else.
Love thy neighbor.
Love thy neighbor. Love everybody.
Right.
Peace and happiness.
Right.
Right. I've been watching Jesus movies since I was a kid. Not that I had an affinity for them. It's just that that's what they forced down my throat. I wanted to watch Bugs Bunny.
Of course, right.
Well, my parents were watching the Jesus movies. Right. Never did I see Jesus in any depiction say pick up arms.
Well, that's funny because I thought so too. But in the Last Supper, so in my research on this got me all twisted because I learned things that I never really. But apparently, in the Last Supper, they leave out a part, and I look at because the Last Supper, right? It goes in the sequence of events, what happens in the Last Supper, and then we kind of replay that in church.
Now, all I know of the Last Supper is what I've seen depicted on Hollywood.
Right.
Because I never really sat down and read the Bible discussing the Last Supper.
Right. But there's things that's very interesting because I'm thankful that I'm part of a Maronite church, which helps me understand a little bit about how things were done back when Jesus was alive, because I'm listening to the word in the Aramaic that he spoke, and Aramaic is very interesting. It's a very like sing-song kind of language, so they're singing a lot of it, and it's very catchy. And I if that's what Jesus was saying at the time, like just hearing it is very profound, right? Just hearing it in that language is very profound. But there's things that I was noticing that if you look at the Last Supper, a lot of what we do it in like jumbled way, right? Like he says, like when we do peace, right? Peace I give unto you. And he did that at the Last Supper, right? But he did that after, he broke the bread and gave the everything is done out of sequence. When we celebrate it in church, everything is done out of sequence, which is very interesting. And then I started thinking to myself,
but let's backtrack a little bit. You say that in Scripture, love thy neighbor and peace unto you, brother.
And I'm going to pull it up.
It happens after they break the bread or before.
So he breaks the bread, gives us the cup, and gives it to his disciples and says, take this, all of you, and eat from it. This is not what he says.
This is my
what
body.
He says is actually even more beautiful. The way they actually say it. Because
let me see if I got it right.
Because the way they hear it,
this is my body. This is my blood.
No, you gotta hear it. Like
no, but I'm telling you, this is what I know. This is what I've experienced in the Catholic Church. They say, if I'm correct, when they bring up the Eucharist, right? He states that this is my body. You consume it, and this is my blood, which is the wine.
Right.
Then after that, then everybody shakes hands. You turn around, people shake hands. That's the end of the Mass.
Right.
But you're saying it's not like that in the Bible.
It's jumbled up. It's all in different. This happened before this, and this happened before that. And I'm like, maybe that intentional.
Okay,
so that way we don't know the sequence. We're all out of sequence.
Okay, so enlighten me. What is written in the Bible.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that, but before I do, I want you to hear this, because this is how in church, and I beg of you, because this is a dying church. This church, the congregation is very, very thin, and it's just that church is exactly like our podcast. Like, we're just praying for donations, like hoping, but we're barely scraping by here. Like, that's how the church is. The church is like, literally, if it wasn't for their hall that they rent out, they would be belly up. There would be no church anymore.
Okay, so let me give a little context to our audience. Again, if you're watching through the TikTok feed or the Facebook feed or the Instagram feed, for now, you're missing the juiciness of the show, because then you can see both of us. Go to theparamid.com. That's TheParamid, like paranormal, theparamid.com. Now, so that people can get a better picture, we're based out of New England. We live relatively close to each other. Now, what do you call this church again? The Maronite?
The Maronite church.
Now,
because the Maronites were the original, like, they were the original Catholics that were living in Lebanon, which is around where Jesus Christ was. That's one of his areas that he was preaching.
When he was doing his thing,
right? And essentially,
now
they still adhere to the Vatican, but they're more closer to Jesus's word, because they're speaking and staying more close to what Jesus is teaching.
So they're a little bit more orthodox,
right? But it's not so much like in terms of like that in a more modern church, they're almost identical. The biggest thing is that they're speaking in the tongue of Jesus Christ,
right,
and therefore
in the native tongue of Jesus Christ, and like the movie that Mel Gibson did,
right? And therefore, their interpretation vastly changes, because they understand what he's trying to say.
Like your boy,
the Lex Luthor,
Luthor,
the captain of the Logos. Yes,
captain of the Logos says, the more you understand different languages, the more comprehension.
Right, you comprehend where they come
back
from.
to the context. Is this the church that looks like it belongs in Turkey?
Yeah, the circular one.
Yeah. It's like out of place where it's at.
Yeah.
Every other thing looks like a cathedral. This more looks like the Hagia Sophia kind of type dome-like church. That's the church, right?
It's not a dome. No, it's like
but it's that circular church that has. I never been inside.
It has like way.
It has like the. But it looks a little bit like the high. Like it belongs in Turkey. You look at this.
Yes. Yeah.
It looks like it's in some. It belongs somewhere else.
Right.
It ain't a cathedral by any sense of the imagination.
No, it doesn't look like a cathedral.
And how does it look inside? Does it look like the?
It looks like a normal church. It doesn't look anything different.
But does it look like a conventional Catholic church where you see the stations of the cross?
Everything looks exactly the
stained
same.
glass windows.
Yep.
The altar.
Everything's the same.
Okay.
Everything's the same. You wouldn't know anything different.
But it must be beautiful inside. I've never been in there. I pass it by every day.
It's beautiful. But what I love about it is that it's humble.
It doesn't have the opulence
of the
a
gold and all this. No.
Okay.
No, it's very humble in its approach and the way, the priests are. And I just wanted to see if I can get you this, because let me see if you can hear this. So this is not exactly, but it's very similar. It's exactly what we say in church, Jesus came to his disciples and said, "Break this bread, all of you, and eat from it." But they don't say that. They say it in Jesus's language. They do not say it the way we're used to saying it. And it sounds
they say it in Aramaic.
They say it in Aramaic, and it sounds like.
But is the translation what?
No,
that's not it either. But it sounds like this. It's like very close to this, right?
Okay.
But that's how I'm hearing it. So, when you look at the they have like every church has the book, right? And these have it both in Aramaic or in Arabic, and they have it in English,
right?
So you can kind of follow along.
Okay.
So it's totally interesting to hear it. But going back to the original reason why I brought it up is because you said that, as far as you're aware, Jesus never said to like get up arms and start, causing havoc. Right. But apparently he did. I did not know this.
You see?
So in the Bible, I'm going to look up in our resident demon, the Gemini. So in the Bible, Jesus during the Last Supper says, what about taking up arms? In the Last Supper, he
this is
says
going to be
this.
interesting because I've never heard.
I was taken aback. And the reason why is because I had found, in learning about this, I had found out, oh my God, in church, they do things out of sequence. Why is it not this way and then this way and then this way, like the way it actually happened? No, we do it all out of sequence. And I feel like there's a coded message behind why we do it out of sequence. But okay, so here it goes. During the Last Supper, Jesus explicitly tells his disciples to buy a sword if they do not already have one. This instruction is found uniquely in the Gospel of Luke. So in Luke, right, Jesus contrasts his earlier instructions to the disciples when he says when he sent them out to preach with nothing, with the new dangerous reality they're about to face following his arrest. He said to them, "But now if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag, and if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one." When the disciples respond, "See, Lord, here are 2 swords," Jesus replies, "That is enough."
Okay. So this is where it gets dicey and complicated. Because, and one day we will have a
council with
we'll have somebody adept in theology.
Yes, that would be, hopefully as the podcast evolves, we're actually able to get more guests that we can learn from about this world that we love.
Because as you're reading that, right? Now, is it possible you pulling up that verse of the Bible so that we could read it live here on the show?
Yeah, of course.
Pull it up.
So,
because remember, Jesus always spoke in parables.
Right.
So what we might consider a sword might not be a sword.
Okay, so
maybe the sword.
Here's the full passage.
Okay, here we go. Put it up on the screen so people can see it. Again, go to the Paramid.com. Not pyramid, Paramid, P-A-R-A.
Okay. Then Jesus asked him, "When I sent you without purse, bag, or sandals, did you lack anything?" "Nothing," they answered. He said to them, "But now if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one." it is written, and he was numbered with transgressors, and I tell you that this must be fulfilled in me. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment. The disciples said, "See, Lord, here are 2 swords." "That is enough," he replied. For the complete context of how this plays out, just hours later during his arrest, the Garden of Gethsemane, here is a full verse of his rebuke to Peter in Matthew 26. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him, "for all who draw the sword will die by the sword."
You see?
So
he's
saying to have it, but not
use it. And do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we got the resident demon.
Right.
Copy and paste that and ask AI.
Copy and paste it, the whole thing?
Yeah. Ask AI. Can you translate this passage and what does it mean? I'm interested what AI is going to have to say about this.
Well, AI, believe it or not, is a what do you call that? A linchpin in Pax Judaica, as I'll explain to you. And the source that I'm going to show to you comes from an unlikely place. It's a Chinese person who's breaking down Pax Judaica in China.
And we'll tease that.
Yeah, so here we go.
It says the literal translation.
Here's the original Greek, right? The literal translation, the one not having one, let him sell his outer garment and let him buy a sword. The deeper meaning, looking at the original language, gives us 2 key insights. The Greek word for sword is machaira.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't a massive Roman military broadsword, but rather a short sword or large dagger. It was a common utility tool carried by travelers in the ancient world for basic protection against wild animals or highway robbers, as well as for everyday tasks like preparing food. The severity of the warning. The word for the cloak is himation, which was a heavy outer garment a person wore. In the ancient world, this was often a person's most vital possession because it doubled as their blanket to survive the cold at night. Telling his disciples to trade their absolute necessity for survival, a cloak, for a weapon for defense, machaira, underscored just how hostile and dangerous their environment was about to become.
So, from that you just read,
so he didn't say fully to not arm yourself. He did say to arm yourself, but not use it.
And everybody has their interpretations, but the way I interpret this is take off your armor and just have the sword, right? The armor is the cloak.
Well, in the way this is being summarized, the cloak is not necessarily your armor,
but it's
like the most vital.
Right, but I'm now I'm paraphrasing. Using the armor, which you use armor to protect yourself.
Right.
Right. The cloak not only was a thick garment that could probably protect you from getting stabbed outright, but it also gave you shelter and warmth.
Right.
So initially, he is saying, trust in me. Now, here I am pontificating. Here we go. Trust in me. Take off your armor. I am your armor. Right? But the belief in me is your armor,
Mm.
your cloak. The sword is the word.
Right. Well, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're going to make yourself vulnerable.
But they procured swords, and they showed it to him.
Right. But
and then he said that is enough.
Right. And he said there was only 2.
Right. There was only 2 swords.
And the 2 swords.
He said that is enough.
Is enough because the 2 swords are him and the word of God. Now, this is just me
interpreting
in my way.
Right.
You know, but see when you
But just to hear that, the fact is how I never heard that before. I never really heard him say anything about swords at all.
See, now you're gonna make me go back into watching all these Jesus films and watching the Last Supper,
but
to see if they actually say that in the movies. I don't remember.
I think they do. I think even in that Mel Gibson one, The Passion of the Christ, I think they do, and I think the sequence of events is very interesting how it all plays out, but it also interesting in how. He's also a sacrifice, and how every time we go into church, we're doing an offering, right? In lieu of a physical sacrifice, we're sacrificing money and other things, and we're doing an offering to the Lord, and then it's just I look at that in context with all the other religions I've been exposed to, and I'm just like, it's very eerily similar, and how similar it is to other things that sacrifice it, but at the same time it's very different because you're drinking of the blood and you're partaking of the bread, which is his body, and then again you're talking about things that at the time, it just, to me, it just makes, like, why, because would Jesus be part of the beef jerky gang? Because he's saying to people things that to us, modern human beings, sound a little bit, worrisome. Like, I would, if Jesus comes down and says to eat of his body, that to me is like, I love you, God, but I'm not a cannibal. Am I going to eat your body? But I understand, in context, everything, gets lost in the sauce. But at the same time, I'm also like seeing things
remember, the adversary twists the words.
No, of course. I'm just saying that it's just very interesting in how all of this, kind of fits into everything else. How the way we do things and how everything is done now, how it, like, other people or other, like, religions and things, how they
now,
do
how
it.
does this, what we're just discussing, how does this
fit into Pax Judaica?
Yes.
So, okay, so the reason why this even comes up at all is because Pax Judaica, what it boils down to is a different history altogether. And the history that we know of, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you fit it in with Pax Judaica. Then it starts to make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that we mull
now,
around.
Again, you say this is
another greatest conspiracy,
but it's a Pax Judaica is more of a modern term because this is being worked at as we speak.
Well, yeah, some theory, what do you call it? Theorists are currently, mapping it and seeing how, oh my God, this is actually playing out. And the guy that I'm going to bring up, he's showing you, it's like, this is still a theory, but part of what makes this theory so credible is because of how it portrays the past, or rather how it explains the past and predicts the future in a way that we can kind of actually see it in a linear line, where before it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, for example, why did we go into Iran? I'm sorry, into Iran. It was Saddam Hussein, Iran, or I think it was Iraq.
Iraq is
Right.
Saddam Hussein.
Why did we go into Iraq for supposed, weapons of mass destruction, right?
Okay.
All these things, or why are we doing all this extra stuff if we're caring about, war on terrorism? Why are we bombing Libya and Yemen and all these other places? If we were truly looking to, disband some of this evil terrorist plot, you would expect that it'll be like a small insurgent team targeting certain people as opposed to just dropping bombs. And when you start to understand that what Pax Judaica starts to explain is the purpose behind all this stuff, and this is all a long game plan that's been in the works for a very, very, very long time. And finally, we just happen to be born in the time where we're at the conclusion of this long game plan, right?
Okay.
So, again, folks, I'm not saying that this is 100%, what it is. There's everything's up for interpretation, but this is the theory that we're discussing, okay? So, for example, how it explains the past. Why on earth did Hitler go ahead and do what he did to the Jews? Right? Now, Pax Judaica explains that this was all part of an orchestrated plot. That this was, unfortunately, the Jewish people are pawns. They're pawns in a bigger game. Right?
We're threading
right.
Dangerous
territory. Yes. So, folks, again, this is not something that I totally 100% going to say that this is factual or anything of that nature. This is just a theory, and we're breaking
and it's
down
not our theory. We're breaking down somebody else's.
This is out in the zeitgeist. This is a theory that's been brought up. Okay, so the theory is
now again. What's the name of this guy?
Who the guy that I'm going to bring up?
Yeah.
Well, he's just one source, but he's not the guy that created this theory. This is a lot of people, a lot of theorists, professors, real people in schools and scholars that have come up with this theory. This is not just a far-flung theory. This is coming from schools. This is coming from PhDs and people that have the knowledge,
theologists,
right? Theologists and so on, right? But going back, so again, prefacing that this is not my theory, but the way it like reshapes history is that in order for this Pax Judaica, because the whole idea here is that you need to have
now in order
the peaceful state, because
in order for us to stay
on task.
No, in order for us to not get bounced from TikTok or any other social platform, we're gonna refer to the H man as mustache.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So the mustache, right? Why did he do what he did? Why did he kill all those Jewish people, right? Well, you gotta go back in the way the way Pax Judaica explains it is that what Pax Judaica actually is the New World Order.
Okay,
that's what Pax Judaica actually, in reality, what is explained is.
And how far back does Pax Judaica go?
It goes back quite a ways.
Does it go back into? So this is not something relatively modern.
No, this
has
is
been
something
around for
thousands of years. This has been
so
in
even,
the works.
So the Knights Templars
are also
knee deep in this.
Yes, they're
the
all
Masons are knee
everything.
deep.
It explains the history in a different way. It opens up to why did these, like, there's so, just like the mustache, you know, why would he do that? Why would he do that particular thing? You know, those kinds of questions get answered by this theory. So, for example, this is like the New World Order.
And
right?
we're not justifying this.
We're going down the theory. So this is like the New World Order, where right now America's a top dog, right? However, this theory suggests that Israel at some point is going to be the top dog. They're going to be the ones that are basically dictating everything.
Well, it makes sense because if you follow scripture, the top dog, who is the Antichrist, will ascend to power, if I'm correct, will be in Jerusalem.
I believe so.
Can you Google that for me so
Okay.
that I know that what I'm saying is true? And the way he ascends to power is by rebuilding the temple. Which is now the Temple of the Rock, where Muhammad ascended into heaven.
Right. The Dome of the Rock.
The Dome of the Rock. What did I say?
I think you said the Temple of the Rock, but
it's the Dome of the Rock.
So it says, in fact, the book of Revelation barely mentions the temple at all. Other brief moments in chapter 11, Apostle John told the measure the temple of God, implying that this one exists during this time. The idea that the Antichrist rises to power by brokering a peace deal to rebuild the third temple in Jerusalem is actually a theological synthesis, meaning scholars and theologians pieced it together by combining several completely different books of the Bible. The peace treaty, the idea that the Antichrist uses the temple to solidify his power comes from the Old Testament. Prophet Daniel writes about the future prince who is to come, who would enforce a massive 7-year peace treaty in the Middle East. He will confirm a covenant with many for one of 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to the sacrifice and offering. Because the verse mentions ending sacrifices, modern theologians deduce that a functioning Jewish temple must have been rebuilt during the first half of the 7-year peace deal.
Well, my question is,
okay, yeah. So
does the Antichrist ascend to power?
Okay, so that's good.
Where does he ascend to power?
So let's see. According to scripture and to our resident demon, Mr. Gemini. Hold on.
Because this is like very reminiscent to what I've heard called the Bible Code.
So the Bible never explicitly names a modern city, country, or exact geographical location where the Antichrist will originate, but because biblical prophecies are heavily symbolic, theologians and scholars have developed several major theories. The revived Roman Empire. This is the most popular view in the modern Western Christianity. The book of Daniel, the prophet interprets visions of successive world empires culminating in a final terrifying beast with 10 horns. Because of the historical Roman Empire was the final empire of the ancient world and was the ruling power during Jesus' time, many scholars believe that the Antichrist would rise from a revived Roman Empire Today, this is often interpreted as the European coalition, a Mediterranean union, or a unified Western political bloc that inherits their historical footprint of Rome. The Middle East. Another prominent theory points to the Middle East in the Old Testament, where the prophecies concerning the end times enemy referred to as simply as the Assyrian. Additionally, Daniel 11 speaks extensively of a king of the north who invades the Holy Land. Scholars who hold this view believe that the Antichrist will emerge from a geographical region of the ancient Assyrian or Seleucid empires, which today encompasses modern-day Syria, Iraq, Turkey, or Iran. Interesting.
So it doesn't explicitly say where he rises to power.
So it says here a Jewish origin, tribe of Dan. Some of the earliest Christian theologians, including the early church fathers of Irenaeus and Hippolytus in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, believed that the Antichrist will be Jewish. Their logic was based on the premise that in order to successfully deceive the Jewish people and be accepted as the false Messiah, he would have to be of Jewish descent. They specifically pointed out to the Israelite tribe of Dan, noting two things. Jacob's ancient prophecies in Genesis 49:17 refers to Dan as a serpent by the roadside, a viper along the path. When the book of Revelation, chapter 7, lists the 144,000 Israelites who are sealed and protected by God, the tribe of Dan is mysteriously the only tribe completely omitted.
So this is interesting. The Antichrist.
Some people think it's a Jewish origin, right?
And some people think that he will be of Jewish descent.
So if you
which brings it back.
But if you think
to
about
your epiphany,
right? So,
which you say could their Messiah be the Antichrist?
Well, it would only have to be. It would have to be because they have because their Messiah, their stated goal is for their Messiah to kick people out of the Holy Land and give them back their land, right? That's what their Messiah is brought here to do. But that is not what Jesus Christ is going to do.
Right.
No matter how many times he comes back, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that because Jesus Christ is here to unify us.
Right.
Right. But their Messiah is there just to further, insulate themselves from thy enemy. Right. Now, if you look at, because in the Pax Judaica, there's this term called this war of Gog and Magog, and you'll learn a little bit about that. But it's like they can't really explain what exactly this war of Gog and Magog is going to be, but there's a lot of theories on like what are these powers. And if you look at it in my interpretation, so you have two opposing really like iron hold views, right? One view is that this is the Holy Land belongs to me, right? And then you have the Muslim view, which is the planet belongs to Muslims, right? That all over the planet should be one world religion, Muslim. That's it.
Islam
all the way. While the Jewish people are saying, believe what the hell you want to believe, just believe it over there. Right. So
leave us alone.
Right.
Do it over there.
Leave our lands that were given to us by our God to us.
Now, my question is, what does Pax Judaica have to say about the Zionist?
So there's a lot that they have to say about the Zionists.
Because I've heard, again, it's not what I believe, it's what I've heard and read. Some people believe that the Zionists, in order for them to get what they wanted, allowed certain people to do stuff for the ultimate goal, which is Israel.
Right. So that's part of that. Again, going back to what I was trying to explain about Mr. Mustache, is that why would he do that? Right. Now, this is a plan centuries in the making, millennia in the making. Right. And the problem is, before World War II, the Jewish state did not exist. There was no Israel. It did not exist.
Right, and not to cut you off, but it is believed that part of the reason of the first Great War, World War I, was due to the Zionist movement trying to attain the Holy Land, which it didn't happen in the First World War.
Right. So the whole thing here is that the part of what they need to enact Pax Judaica, which essentially is what the Jewish people really want, because what Pax Judaica, again, is, what it really means is the conclusion of what the Jewish people have wanted their whole faith, which is the Jewish state to be in full operational power, that it's the America of the world, right?
Okay, so imagine this. World War I happens. The Zionists are knee-deep trying to broker this deal for the Holy Land. Doesn't happen during World War I. Not too much time passes before we're involved in another great war, World War II. Now, let's do a Quentin Tarantino and do an alternate history. Let's say that after World War II, the Zionists still didn't get Israel. In my estimate, in my belief, is not too far from World War II, World War III would have happened eventually. It would happen more quickly than what we anticipate, because again, it's all now. I don't know anything about Pax Judaica, but it seems to me that these world wars, 1 and 2, a major focus is getting the Zionists what they want.
Okay. So
does Pax Judaica say that?
So yes, in a way, yes. So the way, so again, what I've been trying to explain is that Mr. Mustache, right? The question is, why did he do what he did, right? And the whole thing is, because again, going back to it, Pax Judaica is the new world order. It's where finally the Jewish people get what they've been waiting for their entire existence as a people through ancient times all the way up until today. They've been waiting for this moment, the moment where Israel is finally the pinnacle of power, right? That's what Pax Judaica is, right? And now it's looking at that top pinnacle and reverse engineering. How does that play out? How does that happen? how does that work out? Well, in order for that to even happen, first you need an Israeli state, right? Which didn't exist at that time. Before World War II, it just didn't exist. Right. So what ends up happening is
it was Palestine.
It was Palestine. What they needed, in order for this to even come into being, is anti-Semitism. And the reason why you need anti-Semitism in order for it to come into being is because you need people to feel oppressed being a Jewish person. You need to feel that way, because if you're feeling that way, then where else would you want to be? If the option were to be in a country of your own people that are not going to subjugate you or treat you different because of who you are as a human being, because of your ancestry and your belief and your faith, and you can proudly be that here, you would do it, right? You would go, right? But even the anti-Semitism as within itself, the way that they were prosecuted and so on, wasn't strong enough to band people together to formulate the Jewish state. It wasn't strong enough to get people to leave, because let's say you're a Jewish person here. Are you gonna go to the Middle East and be a Jew over there? No, right? Like, why would you want to, right? Even though here,
but a lot of people have done it,
right? But there's a reason why, right? The reason why is because the anti-Semitism that they feel makes them feel so overwhelmed that they feel like they have no place else to go. At least there, I'm welcome. At least there, I have a place to call home, right? Here, I can't even call this is home. This is temporary, because they don't even like me here, right? So that needs to be strong. But if you're doing well, which notoriously Jewish people always do well, right?
Now,
if you're a rich Jewish person, you're getting all the luxuries and all these things, then what sense would you have? If I'm wealthy in America, why would I take all my stuff and go to Israel? I'm fine. I'm not, there's a lot before a certain time, before World War II, there was a lot of wealthy Jewish people in Germany and America and all over the place. They weren't going to Israel. They weren't going because they were comfortable and content, even though, like you get a little bit of, hate and thrown your way. They lived with it. They tolerated it.
And they were thriving.
Right? So who cares? But now the camel broke, the straw that broke the camel's back was the Holocaust. Because after that point, it was, okay, now they're killing us. Now we really need to get out of here. Now we really need to stay. And now they were a collective that was so strong that finally, after millennia, the Israeli state comes to being.
Okay,
right?
Put a pin on that. Because this Pax Judaica that you're describing, it's funny how it isn't funny, but it's just a term.
And I have yet to put on the video, but yeah.
I encountered a passenger that enlightened me in something that I have never thought of, right? This passenger gets into my car, tall, heavy-set, white guy, right? I thought he was white. And we had some issues on the pickup point or whatever, but finally he gets into my car. I'm doing my best to provide customer service for him, and I make the cardinal sin. I go against the first agreement. I assumed
The second agreement.
I'm saying the fourth agreements.
Yeah, the 4 agreements. Yeah, the second agreement is assumption. The first agreement's impeccable. With
Right. So the second, I violated one of the four agreements, which is I assumed this guy was nasty. That he was an asshole, right? So I've been trying to get up my ratings. So I'm trying to break the ice with this guy, and I finally do, because I'm seeing that we're going towards the airport, and I said, so where we're traveling? He says, South Africa. I was like, wow, South Africa. But listening to him speak, right, I noticed a Spanish accent. So I'm like, you Puerto Rican, Dominican? He's like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican. Right? And I was like, wow. And you're going to South Africa? And he said, yes, I'm going to be there for about 6 months. Right? So I started picking his brain. You know, I didn't want to get into anything political. My whole thing for picking his brain is, you know, I've always been fascinated by safari, fascinated by wildlife, fascinated how is it to be living in South Africa, you know, let's say in the city of Johannesburg, right? Which is like, by all said and purposes, looks like where we live here. Same way if you go to somewhere in Australia.
Right.
You know, you're in the middle of the most dangerous country when it comes to wildlife, but yet there's a city.
Right. There's a semblance of normalcy.
Right. So I wanted to know, while you're living in the city, do you encounter these dangerous creatures? You know, snakes, you know, all this wildlife that can kill you in Africa. And he told me, no, it's just like here. You don't see it. You don't encounter it. Very rarely do you see a snake. Very rarely do you see like a deadly tarantula or whatever, or any dangerous wildlife. But what I did encounter my first time going there is something I never, now this is him telling me this, I never thought this was going on. He says, there's racism over there.
I'm sure there is, yeah.
And I'm like, hello.
Of course.
It was, you know, there was apartheid over there. Of course, there's racism.
Right.
You know, against white against blacks, blacks against whites. He's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. There's racism with blacks against blacks.
Yes. Yes.
I was like, what?
Yes.
He goes, this whole notion of African Americans going back to the motherland because this is where they came from.
Oh, they're not going to be accepted over there. No, not at all.
He goes, there's so much racism over there in South Africa. And, you know, I've done trips out of South Africa. If you're a Nigerian and you're from Ethiopia, they hate each other. They're totally, and they know who you are.
Right.
He goes, it's like Puerto Ricans. We all look the same.
Right, but we don't.
You know.
We can tell if you're a Haitian, if you're a Dominican, you know. We can
tell. That I understand, but, you know, we can tell if you're Puerto Rican or Dominican.
Yes, yes.
You know,
it's funny because there's a woman that I work with, and I just go, I have to ask, are you Dominican? She goes, yeah, of course. I'm like, I know my people. I know.
So
yeah,
it astounded me to think that what I thought of racism was white against black. But the biggest racism is black racist on other blacks. And I was taken aback. We fast forward, after we became friends on the ride. I even told him, yo, you should come over to my house to do barbecue because his story is fascinating. He's going to South Africa to be with a friend. And I'm like, how did you meet this friend? I met him online. We became friends over 2 years online. Then I went over there, stood 6 months. I'm like, what?
That's crazy. Online.
Through social media.
Wow.
And now they're like the best of friends.
Wow.
Right? So we ended up having a good conversation. I even invited him to my home when he comes back because I'm fascinated by him. 2 days later, I pick up another customer. Happens to be that he is from Rwanda. Right? And what he told me was absolutely bizarre, heartbreaking, and I can't believe that human beings can do this to each other. He was telling me about problems that he has with he said that his wife, he went through the whole refugee debacle. He had to leave Rwanda because he is Hutu and she is the Hutus and the
Tutsis?
And the Tutsi. He's Hutu, his wife is Tutsi, but they were in love. They leave, the Rwanda because of the genocide. They go into refugee camps.
Wow, that's like real Romeo and Juliet kind of stuff going on there.
Well, you can't stop love, right?
Right.
So you think. Anyway, they might finally, they work the system and they land here in New England, and then the wheels falls off the train. 'Cause now they're situated. Guy has, a stable job, savings. They have kids. But he's a Hutu. She's a Tutsi. And he finds out that after all they've been through, and I was taken aback because he told me this woman was abusing me. Physically abusing him.
Wow.
Like smacking him, hitting him.
Wow.
To the point that, the last time they had an altercation because he didn't want to give her money. And listen, because this is profound. She wanted to go to to Rwanda. He said, "No, you're not going there." She said, "Yes, I'm going there, and you're gonna pay for it." And he's like, "No, I'm not paying for it." She knocks him around a bit. "You're paying for it." He's like, I cannot afford you going over there. But all the while, he doesn't know that she actually has a love interest in Rwanda who's a Tutsi like her.
Interesting.
So in one of the tiffs where he's trying to explain to his wife that he cannot afford it, she knocks him over the head with like a piece of decorative art. I don't know what it was. Knocks the guy unconscious. At that juncture, one of the older kids call the cops. Cops get involved, and that finally seals the deal. But in that interim, she left him destitute because they had joint accounts. She managed to do some maneuvers, and he's broke. This is how we get to the heartbreaking part. He says that what he saw in Rwanda, it's something that can never be described. There's a river over there, right? And he remembers, because he says he was about 7 years old when all that was taking place. He said, my uncle, they gilded him. They chopped off his private parts.
Oh, my God.
Another uncle, they chopped off his arm.
Oh, my God.
Another uncle, all kinds of atrocities.
Because he was not part of the same tribe.
Right. So there's racism there.
Right.
Right? And he says that the memory he can never erase from his mind, that he tries the best to not remember this, but it's vivid, is as his family is fleeing Rwanda, there's a river over there.
Okay.
A very large river. And his very young 7-year-old eyes gazes towards the river, and all he saw from riverbank to riverbank, the width of the river, and as far as the eye can see, is just bodies,
oh my God,
floating in the river.
Wow, that's awful.
So the reason this reminds me of sort of a Pax Judaica thing, we did a detour, is because people here in Africa, in African Americans here, a lot of them, are victims of racism, yes, but there's also reverse racism. Blacks who hate whites,
of course,
and they're always saying, I'd rather go back to the motherland, thinking that they're going to escape racism. But little do they know that if they go there,
there's more waiting for them.
There's more waiting for them.
Worse.
Because people that look like you.
Right.
Now, it's not a question of color. It's just a question that you're a different kind of black.
Right.
We don't like you.
Yeah.
So, making a return to Pax Judaica is, in my opinion, Jesus is right. It's not about division. It's not about
unity.
It's about unity.
Right.
Love one another, not for your race, not just because we are all part of the creation of God.
And that's the thing that separates us from the Muslims, and it separates us from the Jewish people, because they're both secular and they both want to be with their own and only their own. The Jewish people, they're not about expansion. They don't want you in there. Right? It's not about expanding to others and spreading the Jewish word and spreading the good word or whatever. You weren't chosen. This is not for you. Right? Too bad, so sad. This is not for you.
And I'm not, not to bash the Jewish people, because I have a lot of Jewish friends.
Right.
But
that's the religion. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like, if you convert to going to being a Jew, you have to go through extensive work in reading the Torah and all this other stuff. And even then, you're not, fully in.
Now, I got a question, because I'm very naive when it comes to Jewish scripture. So if I convert to Judaism and I become Jewish, am I part of the chosen one?
I think...
Or is it genetics and the bloodline of the Jewish people that the Lord said that these are the chosen ones.
I think they will consider you an ally, but not.
But I'm not a chosen one.
Not a chosen one, yeah.
Because then here's the problem I have. If I'm correct, the chosen ones are born in the motherland. I might be wrong. I might be 100% wrong.
I'm not sure on how that works.
Because a lot of the Jews in Israel today are not from that land.
Right.
They're from Europe, born and bred.
I'm not sure
so how does that work?
I'm not sure. But the point in relation to the story is that the theory that the Jewish people, they don't want you. Right? They're not like Christians, spreading the good word, trying to enlighten people, wake people up from their slumber. That, hello, Jesus Christ is here. You don't have to go and suffer through the suffering that you're bringing about to yourself.
And they're not recruiting anybody either. It's not like they
that's
do
what I'm saying. Like
pilgrimages to like
us Christians, we recruit.
Right.
Muslims definitely recruit, but the Jewish people, they don't recruit. They are. If you want to come and join us, then by all means. But we're not looking for you.
They're not going door to door with a little pamphlet. It's like
no.
Do you know that the Messiah are the real Messiah?
No, they'd rather you burn. They'd rather you. Well, it is what it is. But the Muslims, they are actively recruiting, but the same kind of concept where it's like the flip side of the Jewish people. Jewish people say, leave me alone. I just want to be left. I want my land that was given to me by my God, and that's it. The Muslim people are more so like, follow what we're supposed to say, and this is the way. You got to learn the way. While Christians and believers of Jesus Christ are the ones saying, let's just find a way to exist with each other. How about that? Can we just coexist with each other in harmony? Is that so hard? Right?
But you see, there's also problems with the Christians.
Of course. But
because we did some horrible things.
Of course. I mean, we're human beings at the end of the day, but it's just the overarching theology of the individual religions. Their expansion is to expand their rule of law, to expand the way they think, expand and get everyone under this one world religion of Muslim, right? And then Jewish people are like, to hell with everybody else. We're good with what we have. Just leave us alone. And we're like saying, guys, can we just get along, please? Can we just, the whole idea here is love, love thy neighbor. Let's just peace. Can we just bring peace within each other, right? So
it's very, that area where all this fighting is going on, what's happening.
All right.
It is so complicated.
Oh, yeah. So
it's like, for example, I'm from the Dominican Republic.
Legend that
sorry.
Adam was hard when he quit.
Go ahead.
I'm from the Dominican Republic. Trujillo split the land in half.
Mm-hmm.
Haitians over here, Dominicans over there.
Mm.
We've been coexisting for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, yes, there's racism, Dominicans against Haitians, Haitians against Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dominicans and the Haitians must have said, now, way past Trujillo's time, must have said, look, this is the territory. I didn't have a say in it. You didn't have a say in it. It is what it is. You're Haitian. I'm Dominican. You get earthquakes, we get hurricanes, right? They're not battling each other for thousands of years, back and forth.
No. Well, because the Haitians are too busy battling themselves. Just very reminiscent of what's going on back in Africa. It's very similar. You can't deny it.
I say that to say this is like, I do not see how you can acquire peace in the Middle East when one side is saying, that's mine, and then the other side says, no, that's mine.
Well, I mean, just think of, logically, right? Let's just put it in terms of, like, as small as, not nations, but this is, Narnia is your nation, right?
Right.
If some guy who's not even a neighbor, some guy is like, yeah, buddy, you see that, where you have your pool and that yurt and all that stuff, that's mine now. You're gonna be like, hey, whoa, yours, sure. No, seriously, that's mine, and there's nothing you're gonna say or do that's gonna negate that. That is mine now.
See, at that point,
and then the government goes, yeah, I'm backing him. That is his.
That's what I was getting to.
And now you go, what the fuck?
Right.
Now this guy, I have to have this guy on my property.
And no, and then this is the thing.
But now he just doesn't want that the yurt. He wants the house. He wants the whole damn thing.
And this is where I'm getting at, right? The guy moves in to the right side of my property, right? Now I got to forfeit the area where the yurt is at,
right,
and the area where my pool is at, right. Not only because before, the big guy steps in, we're battling,
right.
I'm dumping. I'm bombing him. He's bombing me. I'm bombing him. He's bombing me. It's a stalemate, right? But then, the governor says, it's his, right? That's bad enough,
right?
Now I'm pissed,
right? Exactly.
Now I'm pissed,
exactly.
But then the government says, what?
But you don't understand. He grew up in this property.
Right.
It means more to him than you because this is his childhood,
I would have been like, well, then the owner should have told me that shit before I bought the house.
Right.
Right? But not, and it gets worse. So using the analogy of what's going on in the Middle East. So right now, the right side of my property is virtually like a forest. I did some little gravel trails, beautify a little bit because that's what I can afford, right? But initially, it's a little forest. I have delusions of grandeur. I want to make a deck over here. I want to make this over here. I want to extend this. And, well, financially, I can't. But now that I got this scumbag living in my property, and then the governor steps in and says he has all the right to that property. As a matter of fact, we're going to give it to him. But not only does the governor say that, he cuts him a check and says, all those renovations that the prior owner wanted to do, but couldn't because he couldn't afford it, here, writes him a check, do it. Now, from my side of the property, I see this guy has a deck. He has the sauna that I wanted to build, you know, a steam room, a carport. I'm like, who the fuck am I?
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
And before I know it, he's got the best house on the block on my property. Yet, I'm eating rocks.
Right.
And the governor doesn't see me for nothing.
Right.
And
if anything, they got their hand out trying to grab more money from you.
Yeah, now they want the garage area. And they got their eyes on my fire pit. Yeah, that fire pit looks comfortable.
Right.
And before I know it, all I have is a sliver of the property.
Right.
So in that regard, it's kind of unfair.
Right.
What's going on.
Right.
In Israel.
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing. So, I mean, the end times needs to occur. It's already been prophesized, but
because from what I've done a little deep dive on,
it makes sense. It makes sense why end times even come, because you got two people who, one guy, that's his house, that's his property. I mean, he bought it outright. He owns it. But this other guy, his God gave it to him.
Now,
okay, that's good and fair, but what does that have to do with me? Your God gave that to you. Well, if he did, then you would be the owner of the property, right?
But let me wrap this whole thing with the entirety of our conversation, right? Now you have this problem in Israel, which is, no knock on the Jewish people that are there.
Right.
But
the Jewish people, the Jewish people, unfortunately, are pawns.
Right, and this is what I'm getting to. So I've done a sort of a deep dive. Before this whole debacle happened in the Middle East, Palestine, because remember, that's the cradle where all religions stem from.
Right.
All religions before the New World Order or the powers that be stuck their ugly nose into it. Before that happened, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Zoroastrians, all lived in harmony. They were good.
Right.
They had no problems. It's just when they divided the lands where the problems happened.
No, they had no problems, but it was. Here's the thing is that the faith, right? The faith believes that the land is theirs, right? So,
right
at some point,
well, this is why
the land has to return to them at some point,
right? But this is why. But they were coexisting. Before that happened, before Israel was there.
Of course, yeah, they were coexisting. But again, like I said,
and in
the
harmony.
faith itself, baked in.
I realize.
I mean, we don't have that because we're Christians. I mean, there's not
but the whole faith thing kicks in because the powers that be stuck their ugly nose in it and now said, this is yours. this is yours.
Well, it's more so like
it's just like
they've been wanting this for such a long time that after Mr. Mustache did what he did,
I want a mansion. I want a nice car. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get it.
No,
and I can create a religion that says that I deserve that.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily mean No, I get that. I get that. But that's why the importance of what Mr. Mustache did, because it's not just about, my God says that this land is ours. And now it's more so, look, millions of us died already.
No, I realize that.
So it's either we get a spot, get our spot now. Where do you want us to go? We got no. What's that movie with Richard Gere? We got no place else to go. I got no place else to go. Where do you want me to go? There is no refugee place that I can go.
But this is the thing.
Right.
They had designated other places to go.
Yeah, but
with larger, much larger territory.
But that's not their territory. That's not what they want. That's, that they want what was in their religion owed to them, which is Israel.
I realize that. But again, if the powers that be did not interfere with that, because even during the Holocaust, right? And this is fascinating to research, because I really don't know. During the Holocaust, what was the situation in that area where Israel exists now and Palestine? Was it as hostile as it is today, where they're killing each other back and forth? Or there was racism, just the way it is everywhere else, but they were coexisting. So what was, because I've always heard they've been killing each other for thousands of years, right? And we're part of it. Christians are part of it. We took over Jerusalem. Then the Muslims took it over. Then we took it, and initially we pushed the Jewish people out. It was actually the Christians that pushed them out.
So it says here, during the time of the Holocaust, the region of Palestine was under direct control of the British Empire.
Right.
Known as the British Mandate for Palestine. It was, you see, Britain comes back around again. You see how they're used as pawns, right? It's the British people, the British monarch. They're very silent in this whole grand scheme of, the Illuminati and all these things. When people say the Illuminati, they don't think of King Charles, right? When people think of, the hidden hand, they don't think of King Charles.
Right. I think of him, but that's because I've...
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like it's hidden in plain sight, right? So they were under the British control. It was not an independent state, but as a territory transitioning out of the collapsed Ottoman Empire, which lost control of it after World War I.
Right, because the Ottoman Empire had been ruling that whole area, I think, for over 1,000 years.
And then they crumbled after. So, like you were mentioning, World War I, Phase 1, kick out the Ottoman Empire. Phase 2,
exactly,
shove in the Israelites.
There's a good movie that, actually there's two, but the one that breaks it down even further is called Queen of the Desert, and this one Nicole Kidman. and you see how the British Empire, they're sitting in like a skiff, and they're like, okay, who's gonna take Syria? Nah, I don't want that there. Okay, then you take Syria. I'll take Iraq and Tehran, and you'll get this party. They're like a board game. You see, I was kind of taken aback, like, wow, these people are divvying up territory. Like,
you know what? I heard a phrase today, and not today. It was like this over the weekend. I was listening to a podcast with this on Joe Rogan, and this British guy. He's like, it was a damn shame that we ever let go of America, and because America was the best thing that came out of the empire.
Of course.
Right? And
you know how much territory they gained?
And if they would have held on to it, if they would have held on to us, imagine. But here's the thing. They kind of still do. They kind of do. Because a lot of what they do is hidden hand stuff. It's not, in your face, but, a lot of things that we're being affected by, like, for example, the whole reason we are a nation to begin with is because of the damn tax. And what is the thing that we complain about most is the freaking taxes.
Right.
Like, make that make sense.
I'm sort of surprised that we didn't end up with a king anyway.
Right. So there's a lot of things with that, but trying to wrap it up. So here is the video with a Chinese guy. His name and I don't know his name, but the name of the channel is Predictive History. He's a Chinese fellow in China. And I thought it was a great perspective to have it from a Chinese person explain this, because I would figure, he's doing the groundwork, to kind of get it all, lined up, right?
Right.
So let me put this up on.
Again, people who are looking at, my feed through TikTok or Facebook, we're about to play a video which you're not going to be able to see. And if you're looking at my feed, you're not seeing Mr. Pablo on the other side. Go to theparamid.com. That's P-A-R-A, like paranormal, Paramid. And it's free. You don't have to join. If you want to donate, that's on you. And that way you can get a full gist of the cast. And we're about to play a video, so you won't be able to see it. Again, go to theparamid.com and you'll be able to watch it live.
And as a quick sidebar, because we're talking about the Antichrist, right? And how it just dawned on me, oh my God, the Jewish Messiah would have to be the Antichrist. There's no other option.
Well,
because
it is the Antichrist.
It is. That's what it is.
Because they don't believe in Christ.
And if Christ comes down, and when he does, and when he comes again, he's not going to suddenly say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and kick these people out and make. No, that's not the Christ that we believe in, right? So he's not going to suddenly be like, yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and do what you wanted to do in the first time. Because if that was the case, he would have done it the first time around, right? But no, their Messiah
and it's
not.
It's sinking in more when I start thinking about it, about the Antichrist. The Jewish Messiah that they're waiting for. And again, It's not we're anti-Jewish, because we're not.
No.
Not at all. But it makes sense.
By literal definition,
yeah,
he is.
He is.
The Antichrist.
Anti-Christ.
Right. Exactly.
Fascinating.
But the other interesting segue is because part of this cast, if you haven't watched already, you know about Baal and Moloch and all these other.
Right.
And where does that come from? The Jewish, gods that they were, that's why they were cast out of the promised land to begin with, because of all these people or all these false gods that they were worshiping. Baal, Moloch, and all these other Baphomet, and you go down the line, that all comes from the Jewish people.
Well, wasn't that more of the Sumerian component?
There's a Sumerian component, and a pagan component and all that other stuff. But where we hear about it in the Bible comes from the Israelites.
Right.
Where we know of it, how it comes to being, it gets birthed through the Israelites. Right? That's how we know of it. That's how we know of it, through the Old Testament, and the way the Old Testament is bringing it to light comes from how the Israelites, were worshiping these, false prophets, right? And hence why Moses had to say, go into to Mount Sinai, and then he gets the tablets, and first thing God says is, "You shall not." Worship any other god before me, right?
And this is another fascinating.
But there were like hundreds of years of them worshiping all kinds of things before Moses even came into place.
This is a fascinating thing to me, right? This guy comes, says, "I'm going to free you from this tyranny that is the Egyptian people."
Parts the Red Sea.
He manages to gather all the Jewish people and have them all come to a consensus. We're going to leave this place, right? They achieved that.
That's a whole book of Exodus.
Right. And in that Exodus, they start running away from the Egyptians. Oh, no. There's the Red Sea, where we're going. Moses says, "I got you." Parts the Red Sea. They walk across. And then the water comes back, drowning a whole bunch of Egyptians. Boom. Besides that, the Jewish people saw him bang his walking stick, become a snake, and all these things that he did. He leaves just for a short time. After you've seen the most incredible thing, not even in modern day
have you seen something.
Have you seen such a spectacle?
Right.
He leaves for a couple of days. He comes back, they're worshiping a cow.
Right.
A bull, actually.
A bull. Right. Baal. I think that's what it.
But it was in the shape of a bull.
Right. Yeah. And apparently that the bull in Wall Street is the same golden bull of Baal. And apparently the way that they would do it, because they would sacrifice kids to Baal, and they would have like a fire in the underneath the belly of the bull going, and then there was on the top of its back was like a slide, and then they would just slide them into the thing, and then they would just cook them in there.
And going back to the Rosetta Stone, those Baal, Molech,
right,
all in.
Those are offshoots of
And they're in the Epstein
again,
files.
and they're in the Epstein files, right? So that, again, it connects back to our realm of why. That's why I'm saying this theory of Pax Judaica. It's unifying a lot of things in the past and making sense of it into the future, and that's the whole thing of what this guy enlightened me to. But just that alone, that revelation of, oh my God, the Jews are waiting for the Antichrist. Like that's a huge, because this time
it sounds bad, right?
Right.
Oh, the Jews are waiting for the Antichrist. But in reality, literally, it's what it is.
It's what it is. But that's like, at the whole time I had thought, up until I was this years old, I was 33 years old, that I realized that we're not waiting for the same person. I thought we were.
The interesting thing is,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know because I've never read the Torah. I mean, I've read some of the Old Testament, which is basically the same thing. In the Jewish Torah, is there an end of times? And is there a figure like the Antichrist, the way we see it on the Christian side? Folks, I want to thank you for tuning into the Paramid Podcast. Again, we're on YouTube. All our past over 149 episodes, this being number 150, are on YouTube on the Paramid, Paramid Podcast Live. You see our shorts and you see our full podcast, and you can see on the Paramid Podcast Live or the Paramid Podcast. There's videos and stuff that you can, but please like and subscribe if you're liking the content. We're trying to build up our numbers on YouTube.
So here's what the resident demon says. In Judaism, the answer is no. There is no direct equivalent to the Christian concept of an antichrist. The very term antichrist relies on the Christian understanding of a divine savior, because Judaism, it has fundamentally different view of what the Messiah is, and the end times narrative does not require singular supernatural anti-Messiah to act as an evil counterpart. Here's how the theology views end times and the closest equivalence it has to the ultimate adversary. The different view of the Messiah. In Jewish eschatology, the Messiah is not a divine being or part of God. He is expected to be a mortal human being, a political and military leader from the bloodline of King David. His job is practical: to gather the Jewish exiles back to Israel, rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, and usher in an era of the universal global peace. Hence, that universal global peace is Pax Judaica. That's what they want. The Jewish, that Pax Judaica is the culmination of the completion of what the Jewish people want,
which is written in the Torah.
Which is to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem and usher an era of universal global peace. And it's going to come from Jerusalem, or it's going to come from Israel. Right? So that's
a tough one.
That's Pax Judaica. Right? Pax Judaica says that it will come from Israel, the universal global peace. That the new world order would be not America on top, or Britain on top, or China on top, or Russia on top. It's the unifier of them all. It's Israel.
Now, the rebuilding of this temple, they meaning the Jewish faith, they specifically want the temple where it originally stood.
Right.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere else. It has to go right where the Temple of Solomon, the Temple of Solomon, I believe is what it. But it says here, because the Jewish Messiah is viewed as a human king rather than a divine savior, Jewish scripture does not contain prophecies about a demonic or supernatural deceiver meant to perfectly mirror and oppose him. Now, here's the word I mentioned earlier, Gog and Magog. So instead of a single antichrist dictator who deceives the world into worshiping him, Jewish prophecy focuses on a final epic geopolitical conflict. In the Old Testament book of Ezekiel, chapters 30 and 39, there is a prophecy about the coalition of hostile nations that would attack Israel in the end times. The alliance is led by a figure named Gog from the land of Magog. Gog is not a spiritual deceiver or false god. He is simply a hostile foreign king or warlord who leads a massive invasion. According to the prophecy, God will miraculously intervene to destroy Gog's army, establishing undeniable proof of God's sovereignty and ushering in the messianic era of peace.
Interesting. Let's play the video. We're an hour 2:16.
Yep.
Let's play the video and let's wrap up Pax Judaica.
All right. Yeah, because this is a huge conspiracy theory, and this is not going to wrap it up in any quick manner. But
no, this is like unpacking the Epstein file.
Right. It
takes a long time.
Now, this guy, he broke it down in about an hour and 39 minutes. If you want to check it out, it's Predictive History, Secret History, #end, Pax Judaica. You can find that on YouTube.
And I'll be watching that with you guys as well, because I must admit I didn't have time to do my own research, but I'm learning about this today.
Here's a brief overview.
End of the course, and all roads lead to Jerusalem. So we're going to take everything we've learned so far and combine it into a narrative about today and the future. So the grand thesis of this class is that secret societies control the world. And this is something you can never prove, okay? But let me propose a theory of how we can approach the truth, okay? Theory of truth. If you have a theory or an idea or a narrative, and it does these three things, then it approaches the truth. The first is that it connects the past. Okay? So does it help us put the past, things that we know that happened in the past, into a coherent story that we can understand? Okay, that's test number one. Test number two is it explains the present. Does it help us better understand the world we live in? Okay? And the last and the most important is predicts the future. From this narrative, we should be able to make certain predictions about how events should develop. And if these events turn out to happen the way we predict, then we can be more sure that our theory of truth is correct. Now, let's be extremely precise. Just because things turn out the way that we predict doesn't necessarily mean that our theory is 100% correct, okay? Because it's really important to understand that correlation does not necessarily mean causation. Okay? So that's a caveat. No matter how well we predict the future, it doesn't necessarily mean that our theory is 100% correct. But our theory gives us a model to understand the past, the present, and the future. Okay? So, with very little evidence, I'm going to present to you a theory about how the world works, a story about how we got to where we are. And again, this is speculation. Some will call this conspiracy theory. And this is just meant to be a fun class. So take what I say with a grain of salt, okay? Ask good questions, doubt what I say, but what I'll show you is that this theory, even though it doesn't really make much sense and you may not believe it, it does help us connect the past, explain the present, and predict the future, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's go into this theory. So you remember Jacob Frank, who founded the Sabbatean Frankist movement.
Whoa,
okay?
whoa. Pause it. Mm-hmm. That is a cool freaking blackboard.
Yeah, it's a digital one.
So not only can he write on the blackboard, he also is like a tablet.
Yeah, it's a giant tablet.
And he can write on it.
Yeah. We have one at the office too.
I have never seen that.
Yeah,
that is cool.
So he's taking it back to Jacob Frank.
He will convert to the Catholic religion, and he will encourage his followers to also follow him into the Catholic religion and also to infiltrate secret societies. One of his friends, one of his patrons, is Mayer Rothschild.
Oh, here we go.
Who is founder, of course, of the Rothschild banking dynasty, which we discussed last class. He will introduce Jacob Frank to another person named Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria, okay, in present-day Germany. All right, now Adam Weishaupt, he is actually a former Jesuit, okay? So he's a member of the Catholic Church. He's also a Jew, okay? And again, we don't have any evidence that these three actually know each other. But this is a theory, all right? So let's assume they knew each other. What they will do together is create a new organization called the Illuminati. And this organization is what controls the world, the Illuminati. Now, there is a legend that Adam Weishaupt, after he created the Illuminati, he encouraged his followers to infiltrate another organization called the Freemasons.
You see how this is a grand theory that's touching all the things that we've been like following along.
We've done Pax Judaica without even knowing that we were doing Pax Judaica.
But it's
on the board right here.
Yeah. But weaves it all into a cohesive story.
Oh, I gotta watch this.
And these were extremely prominent members of European society. Okay, these were intellectuals like Goethe, these were nobility, these were bankers. And so this is the framework that controls the world, okay? The Illuminati was able to penetrate the Freemasons, so now you have an alliance of the Jesuits, the Jews, the Sabbatean Frankists, the Catholics, and the Freemasons, okay? And so this is the alliance of secret societies. Now, there is a legend that what happened is that Adam Weishaupt, he was eventually arrested for conspiracy by the authorities. And so the organization, the Illuminati, has been disbanded. It no longer exists. But there are others who argue that's not what happened. In fact, it was Adam Weishaupt himself who spread the legend that there was a secret organization called the Illuminati. Okay, so the entire thing was to generate publicity. But in reality, the Illuminati was not disbanded, and it still exists today. So why would they do this? And the reason why is that secret societies, like every organization, depends on publicity for recruitment, okay? So it's free publicity if you read a newspaper that there's a secret organization that's trying to conquer the world and which the authorities don't like. Then a lot of people will be like, how do I join this organization, right? And
that makes a lot of sense.
Right? So the irony about secret societies is they have a structure, which is like a triangle, okay? At the very top is the leadership. This leadership is secret. You don't know who they are, you don't know what they do, okay? But they usually come from very noble families. We call these the 13 families, okay? Then at the very bottom are just the public members. And they think that what they do is just good stuff, okay? So the Freemasons, they actually don't know what the leadership does. The key is the middle management, these people, okay? These people are the ones who do all the work. And these people are selected for ambition. In other words, for power, they're willing to sell their souls.
Epstein.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you have different secret societies together, a major problem that you have is coordination. And the idea here is you have different leaders, and how do you get them to work together? Also, after these leaders die, how do you ensure that the new leaders will coordinate together? And the answer to this problem is the idea of eschatology. Okay, we'll discuss eschatology. But eschatology comes from the Greek word eschaton, which means the end. So eschatology means your understanding of how the world ends, of how to create paradise on earth. And what I will show you is that even though these different groups have different eschatologies, there are convergence points which allows them to work together. Okay? So let's go over the major eschatologies. And remember, what's really important to understand is that these eschatologies are often secret, they sometimes change, and the details will be different. So I'm going to present to you more or less a general understanding of different eschatologies, okay? So let's start with the easiest, which is a Jewish eschatology. What do the Jews believe? Well, the Jews believe that because they disobeyed God, because they worshiped false idols, because they sinned, they were expelled by God from their homeland, Jerusalem, to wander the earth, which creates the Jewish diaspora. But eventually what will happen is that a Jewish Messiah will emerge to take the Jews back to Jerusalem, okay? And he will reconstitute the nation of Israel. He will recreate Israel, and then he will rebuild Solomon's temple. Why? Because Solomon's temple is where God lives. And it is where the people of Israel make sacrifices to Yahweh in order to show their devotion to Yahweh. So Solomon's temple is really important. There will be something called the War of Gog and Magog, where basically the entire world unites against Israel. Okay? And the War of Gog and Magog will be led by the Antichrist, the anti-Messiah, the false prophet.
Pause it.
We don't know.
Wait a minute. So, this is a very interesting lecture.
Very interesting.
The Jewish people believe in a Messiah, right? That the Messiah is coming, right? The way he comes is by the rebuilding of Solomon's temple, right? And
well, he's come for that purpose.
Right. And then from there, there's a war that happens, a global war where people will unite against the Jews, the Jewish people. And then the coming of an anti-Messiah. So the Jewish people believe not in an antichrist,
Oh, let's
but an
verify
anti-Messiah.
that.
It says it right there. False messiahs versus anti-messiahs.
There we go. Rather than worrying about a prophesied antichrist, Jewish historical and religious tradition is much more concerned about false messiahs. Throughout history, several charismatic Jewish leaders genuinely believed and convinced thousands of followers that they were the prophesied deliverer, because they ultimately failed to fulfill the messianic requirements, such as bringing the world peace of rebuilding the temple. They are viewed as tragic, disastrous figures rather than the prophesied agents of evil.
So they believe in an anti-Messiah. So they're waiting for this bad guy.
Well, yeah, or false messiahs is another one. So,
yeah, well, it's the same thing.
What Gog and Magog represent, okay? What the Bible says is these are people from the north, but that could be anyone. And certain Jewish scholars have interpreted Gog and Magog to represent Russia and Iran. Okay? This is important because of what's happening today. Okay? But of course, when it seems as though the enemies of Israel, Gog and Magog, when it seems that they are about to win, God will intervene and ensure that Israel wins. And this will usher in something called the Messianic age, when Israel becomes the most dominant nation on earth, when it becomes the light of nations, when it becomes the light of the world. Okay? Does that make sense? So that is the Jewish eschatology. And most Jews believe this. Then you have the Frankists, okay? And the Frankists, Sabbatine Frankists, they make important changes to this eschatology, okay? The first important change is the Jews believe that the Messiah will come when the time is right. So most rabbis believe that the Messiah will come in the year 6000 in the Jewish calendar, which is about the year 2040 in our calendar, which is about 200 years later, okay? So still a long time away. But the Frankists believe that the Messiah has already come, right? Sometimes Zevi. And then you have Jacob Frank.
Pause it. He says
so they believe that first of all, the Messiah.
Is 2040 or 2940?
I think he meant 2,400. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Let's go back.
When it seems as though the enemies are the Messianic age. Change is the Jews believe that the Messiah will come when the time is right. So most rabbis believe that the Messiah will come in the year 6000 in the Jewish calendar, which is about the year 2040 in our calendar, which is about 200 years later, okay? So still a long time away.
2040, right?
But the Frankists believe that the Messiah has already come, right? Sometimes
2240. So 2,240. 2240.
That's what he said, 2240.
2240, yeah.
Okay.
And then you have Jacob Frank. So they believe that, first of all, the Messiah is already here, okay, which means that the war can start. Second thing that they believe is that you don't wait for God to intervene. You can accelerate the Messianic age by sinning, right? Because by sinning, what you're doing is you are defying Satan. It's Satan who created this world. And by sinning, you're defying his laws, you're defying his authority, and this will create more chaos, and you will reveal how evil this world is. You will accelerate the collapse. Okay?
He says it's Satan that creates this world, and by us sinning, we're offending Satan.
That's a twist.
Which will force God to intervene. And then during the Messianic age, what will happen is material pleasure. Okay, so rather than everyone being spiritually pure, we'll have a lot of sex. We will have feast. We will live forever. Okay, that's a Frankist interpretation of this eschatology. Okay? Does that make sense? Then you have...
Are you following so far with the...
Yes.
Okay.
The Christian Zionists. Okay? The Christian Zionists. I'll explain who the Christian Zionists are later on, okay? But what the Christian Zionists will do is they will take this Jewish eschatology but interpret it in a Christian context, okay? So for the Christians, they believe that, yes, all this will happen, okay? The Jews will establish the Messianic age. But this is really the Antichrist system. Okay? The Antichrist, who is the Jewish Messiah, will establish a world government that will dominate the world. And he will establish...
This is what planted that seed, because he just threw that out there. He said the Antichrist, the Jewish Messiah. That it didn't occur to me that that's what that was until
something called the Mark of the Beast. Mark of the Beast is basically digital ID. Okay? So just think of a microchip in your forehead or wherever that, and so you can be tracked, you can be monitored. Okay, so basically an AI surveillance system. Okay, so this is what the Messianic age of the Jews will look like, but it's the Antichrist system. And eventually what will happen is that the people will rebel against Israel, and this will lead to something called the War of Gog and Magog. Okay? And when it seems as though Israel is about to be defeated in the battle of Armageddon, okay?
Armageddon.
What will happen is that Jesus will return. Jesus will return, second coming, and he will take all the Christians to heaven. It's called the rapture. And then he will kill a third of the Jews, a third will convert, and this will usher the Messianic age, okay? So this is the Christian interpretation. It's called Christian Zionism. But as you can see, what's really important is the Jews first achieve their eschatology before the Christians can achieve theirs. The Christians need to use the Jews as a tool to achieve the second coming.
Fascinating.
Okay? Does that make sense? All right. And what's really important is Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple is where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is right now. So in other words, for this eschatology to happen, you will need to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest site in the Islamic world. And you can imagine how angry Muslims will be. And this might initiate the war of Gog and Magog.
Yeah.
Okay? Another important thing about this eschatology that's really important is you need the Jews to return to Israel. And how do you get the Jews to return to Israel? Anti-Semitism. Okay? So not only do you have to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is, not very nice, but you also have to promote anti-Semitism around the world to force the Jews to return. That's another part of this plan. Okay? As you can see, this is not a nice plan. It causes a lot of death, it causes a lot of suffering, causes a lot of persecution, but both Jews and Christians believe that for the Messianic age to come, there has to be an age of tribulation, there has to be the Antichrist, there has to be the war of Gog and Magog. Okay, there has to be Armageddon, basically. All right, so is this making sense? Okay, this is again, the eschatology, which is a script, which is a plan that these secret societies must implement in order to achieve heaven on earth. The last people I want to talk about are the Freemasons. Okay? The Freemasons believe that they are, the Freemasons believe that they are of the Enlightenment. Okay? Freemasons. And they practice a new philosophy called deism. What makes deism different is that it's an Enlightenment philosophy. So the idea is that God did create the world, the universe. That's why we are here. But then God left. And now, because of free will, free choice, we can do whatever we want. Okay? And our mission is basically to achieve godhood through science, through open debate, through rational thinking. And what are the signs of godhood? How do we know that we've become God? When we're able to do three things, okay? The first thing is to warp reality. Okay? To basically manipulate the essence of matter. And we've been able to do that because of something called the nuclear bomb. Right? So we've achieved that. So in other words, the nuclear bomb was a Freemason project to achieve godhood. But not only that, after they achieved the nuclear bomb, they had to use it to show that they are God, right? Because as we discussed before, at the end of World War II, the Americans were firebombing Japan. The war was over. They didn't have to drop the bomb, but they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay? That's number one. Number two is they need to kill a king to show that they are God. Because the king is divinity, right? God gives birth to kings, only gods can kill a king. And who did they kill? JFK. Okay, again, this is conspiracy theory, okay? And the third thing, which a God does, is create life. Okay? And this is something that they haven't done yet. We're going to imagine what this is. This is AI. Okay? So these are the three missions of the Freemasons. And they've achieved the first two. They've warped reality by creating a nuclear bomb. They've killed a king, JFK. And the third thing they want to do is create life, which is AI. Okay? In fact, we can also guess where this AI will take place. Why? Because let's look at a map.
And then after this, we can kind of cut it and you can finish watching the rest. But
this is the equator.
Take a look at this map. Very interesting.
33 degrees north of the equator are 4 places. Okay? Now, 33 degrees is very important in Freemasonry. There are 33 degrees in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It's a very sacred number. Right? So 33 degrees north of the equator, you have 4 places. Look. The first place is Trinity Site, New Mexico in America, which is where they tested the atomic bomb. Okay? You go over across the Pacific to Japan. 33 degrees north is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right? 33 degrees north in America is Dallas, Texas, where they killed JFK. So the last mission of Freemasons to achieve their vision for the world is creating AI, right? Now the question is, where would they do it? And the answer is 33 degrees north of the equator, right? And where's that? Jerusalem. So this is the end game, guys. The Freemasons will create artificial intelligence in Jerusalem, and this will become the world government. Again, this is just conspiracy theory. Don't believe this. This is just for fun, okay? But if it happens like this, then that's interesting, okay? But that is the grand plan, to create a world government in Jerusalem. And where's the center of this world government? Solomon's Temple. Because the Freemasons believe that their founder was the one who created Solomon's Temple. So by recreating Solomon's Temple, you close the circle, okay? So again, this is very complicated, and I don't want to get too many things wrong, but this is a general gist of it.
So what do you think of this?
I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
So it unifies everything.
Because all these charts that he's making is organizing my brain. Because these are all my theories now getting organized so that it makes sense.
Right.
Wow.
That's what Pax Judaica is. And this
now,
is
you
why
say he's Chinese or Japanese?
He says he's Cantonese. Yeah.
Cantonese.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it goes down, but it explains, you know, in order for, because he goes down into if you think it's just a theory that the greater, because part of this is that there needs to be a greater Israel, right? So this is why Palestine cannot be a state anymore, right? Because what Israel's goal is to expand. And now what he had alluded or opened my mind to was that I didn't realize the Jewish flag, you know the Jewish flag, right? With the Star of David and then the two stripes on each side. Those stripes have a meaning. Do you know what they are?
I do not know.
Those are the rivers, the Euphrates River and the Nile.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they represent the full Jewish state. That's what they want, from the Nile to the Euphrates.
Isn't it to the Nile? Or that's what the Muslims believe, to the Nile to the sea, right? From the Nile
from the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Right, is where they don't want any Jews to be. But here he breaks it down a little bit here. Give you an idea.
Nile to the Euphrates in Iraq, okay? It's a huge area. And if you say the Israelis want to achieve the Greater Israel Project, they call you a conspiracy theorist. Like, we don't want that, okay? But explain two things to me. First of all, why is the Greater Israel map on a chevron of an IDF soldier, okay? These are soldiers, Israeli soldiers, and they wear the insignia of the Greater Israel Project, okay? This is the map. Also, if you look at the flag of Israel, there are two blue lines, right? These represent rivers, the Nile and the Euphrates. All right? So if it's a conspiracy theory, then how do you explain these two things? All right, but I want to argue to, you know what? Pax Judaica, it's not about Israel or the Greater Israel Project. What it is ultimately is an alliance of transnational capital, multinationals like Google and Meta, and intelligence agencies that will be based in Jerusalem, okay? So secret societies will be based in Jerusalem, and they will use it as a headquarters.
That's where the digital money is
their
going to
global
come
conspiracy.
Yep. And he says that AI has not yet been birthed, because what we're dealing with right now is LLMs and large language models. But AI has genuine thought and is, in all intents and purposes, a living being of some sort. And he posits that Israel is going to be the place where AI is going to be birthed.
That is fascinating.
Now, when you look at that and you think about companies like Palantir, which Palantir, all they do is AI. And what Palantir does is they use data, feed it through their AI to get a cohesive map of like what's the next step, right? What's the next things to get to? And they use that for, weaponry and all these things, right? Palantir is like an AI system for military technology.
Correct.
And Palantir has a strong relationship with Israel. So there's a lot. Israel.
Don't they work on the Iron Dome?
On a lot of things, a lot of projects with them, right? And Microsoft, Google. Actually, Google was one that didn't want their names thrown into a conference that they had. Israel had like this security conference of some sort, and they invited everybody, including Google, and everybody showed but Google. There's something about Google, like they didn't want to be participating in whatever that Israel has in mind. But essentially, they believe, based on the evidence and based on their predictions, that AI might be birthed out of Israel. Now, one of the things that they do when they make these AI or large language models or whatever, they've done them, made them do like war games. And what do they end up always choosing? They always choose to use the nukes, right? Because they figure the fastest way to the end is to just get rid of the chess pieces and just, that's how you get to, the end of it faster. You just use the nukes. So if that's the case, then maybe if there is some kind of AI God that comes into being, then maybe it can be a Messiah for the Jewish people. Because what if it's that technology that gives them the ability to reclaim the Jewish state of Israel?
So wow, I just got a thought in my head. So the Messiah could be this new entity born in Jerusalem, and it could be Max Headroom.
Right. It could be an AI
Messiah. That is a fascinating theory.
That would be, perfect in line with the Antichrist, and anti in every way, So, and then just for extra added effect, there's a lot of things that I've been gathering up because once you learn about Pax Judaica, it gives you a lot of questions.
Right.
It gives you a lot of so then how does this fit in and how does that fit in, right? And one of the things that I was alluding to earlier was that a lot of the things that the conspiracies that we fall upon, that we're following, all have, Jewish origins in a way. The Moloch, the Baal, and all these weird, satanic, even the satanic worshipers and the Satanists. They're also, a lot of Satanists are if you survey them, they originally were Jewish, and now they worship Satan. And a lot of these Satanists are Jewish or
former Jews.
Former Jews, right? And he was talking about the Illuminati, and he was talking about how the middle are the ones that sell their soul, right? And so after doing some research on this, I stumble across somebody that is also let me not make the assumption. Let me just go straight into our resident demon. But the person is Lady Gaga, right? Is Lady Gaga a Jew? Or does she associate with Jewish religion?
Put it on screen.
Let's just see. So she was raised Catholic. Okay. French-Canadian descent, and she was raised Catholic. Okay. Does she... Because I had stumbled upon that she would... either she was raised or family members.
No, she does not.
No, I guess
associate.
No,
with
so then I might have gotten false information. Or firmly Christian. Okay, so then she's Christian. Okay, so because the reason I bring her up is because I'm looking at this whole Antichrist and Pax Judaica, and there's this woman, this artist that pops up into in this research of all these threads that I'm pulling, and she's this artist, and what is she likes to do these weird art exhibits, right? For the elites. And it was basically like, for example, she had laid out a table with a bunch of like weapons and things for people that are viewing this art to do onto her. Apparently that she had some kind of like bodyguards in place or whatever, but she was saying, here's a gun, here's this, here's that, do your worst
on me.
And there was let me again use the resident demon to pull up the full, and these are all coming from the threads that I'm pulling from this Pax Judaica thing, because it's just leading into all different realms. And I just wondered, because we know of the predictive programming, I'm wondering, because I feel like these people are devil worshipers, and they're looking for the Antichrist to come, and our version of the Antichrist, to me, was always a devil worshiper. It was only recently that I'm like, oh my God, the Jewish people could their Messiah is the Antichrist by definition, right? But it doesn't seem to me as like the devil incarnate. But in the Christian religion, the Antichrist is devil, basically, right?
Well, he is a puppet of the devil.
A puppet of the devil. But nonetheless, a representation of the devil, or the devil himself. He's still demonic in some form, right? So, her name is...
He's actually like what we might call a prophet of the devil.
Right. So the name of this artist is Mariana Abramovich. Let's see.
So she puts a loaded gun and says, "Do what you want."
Yeah. So what?
So you could blow her kneecap off.
Give me a full description of Mariana Abramovich. So that way you can kind of see.
Well, we got 3 minutes left of the cast. Folks, thank you for tuning in for this quick, holistic course on Pax Judaica.
Pax Judaica. So Mariana.
Next podcast, we'll go back to the fun of the
AM/PM game
show and the aliens, but it's not all about aliens. Sometimes it's also, we're big time conspiracy theorists, and Pax Judaica,
and they all connect, because you were watching Begonia, I was watching Nosferatu, and I'm looking at
the Boros. Very important.
The Boros. Nosferatu is looking at the Great Wat. I mean, it's disturbing, but watch Nosferatu if you get a chance. You get to see like all these things, aliens, demons, and all these things. They all seem to be the same. They all come from the same thing. This like aliens and demons and all these things. They're all very similar in description and similar in certain ways.
And I believe predictive programming is real. They must tell you cult lore. They're talking about the powers that be, the New World Order. Mm-hmm. A vampire cannot walk into your home unless you invite it in.
Right.
According to the lore.
Well, you should really watch Nosferatu, because the way that they address that is, I mean, should I give the spoiler?
No spoilers. I'll find out that on my own.
It's
But
so good.
Before Nosferatu, I guess, the lore is, even in antiquity, he must be invited in. Discussing AI, the Antichrist, and the potential for Jewish Messiah. AI just spit it out.
What? Oh yeah.
On wow.
He's listening in.
He's listening in. He spit it out on TikTok. So anyway, he must be invited in, right? That's the lore. The powers that be, the Illuminati, their lore is, before you do something, you must be told. They must say it before they do it.
And it's in the name, Illuminati. They have to illuminate what they're doing before they go ahead and do it.
And I was watching a movie from the 1990s, right? And to be quite honest, I believe the movie was, I think Kurt Russell was the protagonist in this movie. I got to find out what it was. But they're going through a lot of things. Is it like a high, it's not a sci-fi per se, but it's a very, how do you say it?
Action adventure?
Action film. But in the midst of all this action, you see a kid's drawing, and it's an airplane about to hit 2 towers. And I'm like, ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? This is about 4 years before 9/11.
Wow. So they're aware of, they're doing, and again, 9/11, more Pax Judaica. Because why do we need? Because let's be honest. Can we please be honest? It wasn't planes that took those freaking buildings down.
No,
it wasn't. And the more you peel this onion, you find out Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset. You find all these buildings that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, there was a plane that recently, did you know this? There was a recent event, a plane struck a building. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Recent event, a plane struck a building in China.
And it imploded, exactly.
No, the building was intact.
No.
The plane crumpled like a aluminum tin can.
How can that be? It didn't crumble down?
No. And these were buildings designed anticipating that. Because there were skyscrapers. They were anticipating that some idiot would collide into the building. So they built it on purpose, strong enough to withstand anything colliding into it.
And it just disintegrates.
But the thing that makes Pax Judaica make it more clear is, they go in, right? You're thinking, okay, we're going for the source of Osama bin Laden. Hold on. Let's just take a quick cut here to Iraq and knock this guy off. And then while we're at it, throw in Afghanistan, Lebanon, Yemen. Let's just throw in all these other countries.
Now here's a quick thought that I've been playing with. I have a little gizmo in my mind that I love conspiracy theories, right? And Epstein is at the pinnacle of conspiracy theories. I bet you, if you dig deep enough, Epstein and Osama somewhere meet in the chart.
They're probably having dinner right now.
That's one.
They're probably having dinner right now.
Two,
in a smoky room.
The reason that all these Jewish people were not in the building when they should have been in the building was these infamous emails of Jeffrey Epstein.
Most likely.
Massive email, don't go to work today.
Yep. I wouldn't doubt it.
Again,
I wouldn't doubt
that's
it.
a conspiracy, but we must end the show.
All right.
It's hour 3:05. Again, folks, theparamid.com. You can go to our YouTube through our website. We have a news fun page. You can watch, see all kinds of alien stuff and cryptids and anything dealing in the paranormal world.
We have to keep going, but I did want to
all of our socials are on theparamid.com.
Put a little button on what I was saying about Marina and Abramovich, because the whole reason I bring her up is that this is again the Illuminati, and at face value you think of these people as we're always idolizing these people, the Will Smiths of the world, the Bill Cosbys. I had a conversation the other day. What do you rather have, Bill Cosby, this guy, Bill Cosby, what's his name? Jesus.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about the recent guy that got Sean John. What's Puff Daddy?
Puffy.
Right, Puffy. And then you have this other guy, the Trapped in the Closet. What's his name? That did that series, Trapped in the Closet.
I never seen that series.
Yes, you have. We watched it together.
Trapped in the Closet.
Yeah. Oh my God, what's his name?
What's Trapped in the Closet about? Refresh my memory.
You forgot Trapped in the Closet is the series. It's like a show with this guy. He's singing through. What's his name? He's a singer, a famous singer, known for getting peed on. What's his name? Jeez, it's gonna break my. It's late, folks. So my brain. I need more brain boost. We need to get another shipment. What's his name?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. Yes. So like all these people that people still sing R. Kelly songs. People still, all these people.
Oh, it wasn't a show. It was a movie.
Trapped in the Closet?
Yeah.
No, it was like a show. It was like a mini show.
It says it's a movie.
It's a movie. Now it's a movie.
Let me see. The first 12 chapters of R. Kelly's rap opera, in which one night stand triggers a series of revelations about sex.
Yeah, it's like 12 chapters to 12 like mini series. You never see we've seen it together.
I don't remember seeing this at all.
Oh man, we're having a Mandela effect here. I don't know. In any case, all these people that we idolized and we thought were somebody that, we wanted to aspire to be or whomever, turns out to be, scum of the earth. Right?
Oh, I see why. It's 3 movies. One came out in 2005. One came out 2007. And the last one came out 2012.
Oh, my God. There's 3 iterations of this?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And what is this movie about?
We'll play a little bit after the cast. But in any case, going back to what I was trying to put a button on, just basically showing you that these people that are famous people, they're infiltrated certain our zeitgeist, they're doing things to bring about. They're playing around with demonic entities, bringing about the Antichrist.
Yeah, I mean, this what is her name? Abramovich.
Yeah, so that's who I was.
You don't even have to show that because we've already seen in other iterations of what you're talking about. Remember the guy, what is he, a transgender dressed in red doing a performance like in this leather suit and red?
Oh yeah, what is it? My mind today, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they did the shoes.
You have that
little something, little baby or whatever. His name is.
Yeah. And then you have these artists dressed in, every time they do a performance, like for example the last halftime show. Every halftime show has some symbolism that's linked to demonic stuff.
Well, my biggest thing was the whole Travis Scott bit, seeing that was like a cross being fed into a portal, and then you have Drake spending $1 million in the strip club right after that, and going back into what Pax Judaica is saying, one of the eschatologies is money and sex and sin and all these other things.
And being that that evokes
so
the end of time.
They're pumping,
pushing it.
They're pumping the rap and they're pumping the stuff because what are they doing? They're taking lean, they're taking drugs, they're
and then
always having sex with bitches and hoes and all these other things.
And that leads into this whole thing of the debauchery that we are seeing today.
Yes.
You know, men are not women. Women are not men.
Mm-hmm.
Men can have kids. Like, birthed kids. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's such an abomination of everything. What's up is down, what's down is up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't identify as him or her. Now New York State passed a law that it's not appropriate to say mom and dad.
Oh my God.
You haven't heard of that?
No.
Put in Governor Kathy Hochul.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and put mom and dad. Just put cut. Kathy Hochul says it's not mom and dad. And we'll end it there because we have to go.
Yeah, we really do have to go. As that's loading up in a response here, just to give you, so Abramovich stood completely still in front of a table holding 72 objects. She placed a sign on the table with the following instructions. There are 72 objects on the table that one can use on me as desired. Performance, I am the object. During this period, I take full responsibility. The objects on the table, a rose, a honey, grapes, perfume, feather, bread, a mirror, scissors, a whip, razor blades, needles, chains, an axe, a scalpel, and most notably, a pistol and a single bullet. What happened? As time passed, audience realized there would be no consequences. Mob mentality set in, and the interactions became increasingly violent and degrading. Her clothes were cut off her body with razor blades. She was slashed so people could drink her blood.
They did this.
They did this. She was slashed so people can drink her blood.
And she allowed it.
She allowed it. She was carried around half naked and placed on the table with a knife stabbed between her legs. The most dangerous moment occurred when an audience member loaded the bullet into the pistol, placed the gun into Abramovich's hand, and manipulated her fingers to aim the weapon at her own neck to see if she would pull the trigger.
And did she?
No.
Okay, so again, look at that. In my book, that's as demonic as it comes.
They were drinking her blood.
And then here we go. Governor Kathy Hochul did not ban the words mom and dad, but a bill passed by the New York legislature.
Yep, it says.
Replaces gender terms like mother and father with gestating parent
and non-gestating parent.
So now your kids are going to be like non-gestating parent. Can you get, can I get a candy? A non-gestating parent. Can I go to
Wait, so how would they, New York state legislator passed a bill that changes the language used in certain family court and legal documents. It replaces the word mother and father with gestating parent. Proponents of the bill argue that it is just a technical update to make legal statuses more inclusive for complex surrogacy and adoption cases.
The legislation is intended to clarify parental rights to custody disputes involving surrogacy, LGBTQ, couples, and non-biological parents.
This is her actual quotation. The governor believes mothers are mothers and fathers are fathers, and no legislation changes that. The legislation, which we will review, appears to address the technical legal issues related to surrogacy and parentage.
It's a strange world we live in.
Yes.
So, folks, usually we end the show with the ultimate ohm. Today's our 150th episode. So we're gonna do a quick ohm so that we can have a beautiful week, beautiful start to our week, healthy, safe week. And you know, I'm always talking about how I am a rideshare driver. I want to give a heads up to all my Uber and Lyft drivers. Be very careful who you involve yourself in conversations with. There's an evil thing going on, which is false reports.
Well, I would say go one step further and say, if you're a rideshare driver and don't have the what is that, the in-cabin camera,
the dash cam,
get one now. Because your time is limited.
Get a dash cam ASAP. Because even if you have proof and you have dash cam, you can have 3 dash cams in your car. There's going to be a point where you're going to be down for maybe a month or 2 at a time before you get reactivated. The riders have all the rights. Drivers have none. We're underpaid, and the riders pay peanuts. So, with that said, be careful. Rideshare drivers, Uber, Lyft, and what other rideshare platforms are out there. Be very neutral. No politics, no religion, and especially, you're not a counselor, you're not a psychiatrist. Stay away from commenting, even if they ask you for your advice. Just benign, innocuous words that don't implicate you in anything. Act as if you're on TikTok and you cannot say certain things, because you will get knocked off. It's happened to me. It's happened to other people, and it'll prevent you from providing to your family. So please get your dash cam, put up stickers, let them know they're being videotaped. Please, because it's a very unsavory thing when you find yourself that you don't have a income coming in and the bills don't stop.
Right.
So with that said, we always do a little prayer.
Take a deep breath and
Like to
relax.
finish with ohms. This is not a cult or a religion. It's just ohms, okay? We're going to relax our breath. This is a meditation pose, lotus pose, whatever you want to call it. Don't be afraid of your own voice. You're in your house, make some sound, no one cares. You're basically massaging the central nervous system, which, trust me, needs massaging.
Well, folks, we have come to the end of the podcast. And we were on sabbatical. You know, we had things to do. And let me see if I find my little prayer here, because now I have a whole bunch of files. Anyway, I'll wing it. We always end our podcast with an ultimate Om. We do this to cleanse our body of toxic energy and toxic frequency, all that stuff that you heard during the cast, you know, the Pax Judaica and all these conspiracies, everything you see on the TV, social media, on your computer, that all toxifies your body, it clogs you, and it gives you anxiety. So through the ultimate Om, we eliminate all that, you know, to make sure that we have a good start to the week. And all I gotta say is, Lord, protect us from all evil. Give us the knowledge to follow in your path and be good to mankind and do good for others, and others, that way others can do good for us. It's about peace, love, and happiness, and we do that by evoking it, good frequency, good vibrations and energy to enter our heart and soul, so we have a wonderful week. So let's take a deep breath. Breathe out, letting all that toxic energy out and allowing beautiful energy, positive energy as we start our work week. And remember, if the universe is infinite, then so are the possibilities, and the paranormal is all around us. You just have to look closely. See you on the next cast. We're usually on live Sunday evenings, show number 150. Catch us at theparamid.com, TheParamid.com.
And don't forget to give our boy a like and a follow, Mr. Rising Sun DNB. Check him out.
Absolutely, the maven, the musical maven, the DNB king, Rising Sun. Peace.
The night feels longer than it used to be. These empty roads keep calling out to me. I've been carrying more than I can hold, trying to stay strong when the world feels cold. Every answer seems so far away. Every dream feels faded into gray, but deep inside a little fire remains, whispering softly through